Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, a show dedicated to helping you expand your capacity, take your life in every area to an entirely new level, and creating a day and a life by design. Here's your host, Dan Hafner. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Run Your Day podcast. As always, Dan Hafner here. Today's topic is this: it takes a while to right the ship. As always, I appreciate you guys joining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. All right, my friends. So, as per usual, I'm going to tell you another story about the moving life of Dan Hafner. Yes, I am, I know you guys might be getting sick of this, but you know what? I am too, and it's stressful, and it sucks, but I'm learning a hell of a lot of life lessons through this process of moving. And today I'm learning a lesson about this, about righting the ship. So this is what happened. Yesterday, we kind of had the doors open in our house. We were having a yard sale. We were trying to get rid of some stuff. We had some people come and pick some furniture up. We're trying to move as little amount of stuff as possible, right? To kind of keep the load lighter, to make room in a truck, to move all kinds of stuff, all this different stuff, right? So we have our doors open. We're in and out of the house all day long. We're just doing all kinds of different stuff. I go back inside and I start to notice the house is feeling a little bit warmer because it's warm here. It's, in the 80s. It's been a pretty nice day, pretty nice week. And the house is at about 74, 75 degrees. And we have our AC set to about 70, I think 69, 70 degrees or whatever. And the thermostat says 75 degrees. And I'm like, wow, like that's warm. That's pretty warm in a house. Now maybe you keep your house that temperature. I don't know. But for us, like my wife, she usually keeps it a lot colder. I walk around and I know some of you guys probably seen it on social media. I some days in the winter I got to keep like a coat on and gloves on and stuff because I run hot. Like I do not like being cold. My wife, on the other hand, she hates being hot, loves being cold. Anyway, the house is hot, right? It's warm. And I'm realizing like we're letting in way too much hot air, and our AC can't keep up with it. It just can't keep up with it, and it's not keeping the house cold, right? And this thought dawns on me. I'm like, wow, this happens in life, right? We allow too much crap into our life. We open up too many doors. We try to do too many things, and all of a sudden we can't handle it. Like our systems that are set to keep us cool, aka centered, productive, efficient, they get overwhelmed by too much shit, right? Too much influx of hot air. And I'm sitting here like, wow, that's incredible, right? So as started to notice that overnight, it corrected itself. And it's right about 72 right now, so it's still running. But it just took a while. I mean, because you have to think about, our house it's relatively, I wouldn't say it's a huge house, but it's not a small house either. It's a pretty mid-sized house, and it's taking the entire temperature of that entire building down 5 degrees. Like that's a lot. Like you think about, when we talk about global warming and all this stuff, like, and they talk about a 1 degree rise in temperature, like that's a lot when you talk about the entire world, right? We're just talking about a small little house, and it's 5 degrees that is trying to cool it down. And it made progress. It started to actually get better, right? But it's still correcting itself. It's still working. It's still going because it took so much more energy to cool that hot air down once it got up. Like you think about this in terms of like school grades, right? If you guys remember, maybe some of you are in school, maybe, when you were in high school or college or whatever you were in, you had grades, right? You get 10 out of 10 on one assignment, 10 out of 10 on the other one, and then you get 9 out of 10, like it drops that down. But then you have to keep getting perfect scores, and your score to take it up from like a 75% to 100% is a very, very slow process. But then if you just miss one thing, you get a 0, you don't hand in an assignment, or you forget something, or you get a really bad grade on something, it drops a lot faster than it rises, right? It's so easy. You see this in your body all the time. You could work out every day without fail for 3 years, maybe 3 months, whatever you want to call it. And then you skip a week. You notice how much weaker you feel, how much less you perform. It's crazy how you can spend so much time building these things up and then it can just boom, just be done, right? Like we spend, when you keep your doors closed, when you keep your windows closed, you keep your garage door closed, you keep your house contained, it can stay at a very constant temperature with less energy, and it can be efficient, right? But then you open the doors for a day and all hell breaks loose and it just goes up to 75 degrees or could have went even higher, and it takes time to right that ship. Now, this applies to your and I everyday life in that, when we start to get efficient, when we start to get focused, it can be very easy to just keep those systems going, to keep that status quo going and just be like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's efficient, it works, it gets shit done, boom. And then you don't do stuff, or you forget, or you get sidetracked, or you get distracted, and then everything falls apart. And we try to then just be like, okay, well, if I just jump back in and start doing things the way I was doing them before, it'll all work. It'll be better. And it's not always the case, right? Because it takes time to shift and get back on track. It takes time for that ship to right itself, right? This is why when you think about like the Titanic, it couldn't miss that big ass iceberg it hit because it's such a big ship. It can't just turn on a dime. The Titanic couldn't turn as sharply as a freaking sailboat can. Like where you can just do, you can be nimble, right? And that's kind of how our lives work. We're like the Titanic. We take time to shift. Now, you can get to a place in your life where you can shift faster and you can right the ship quicker. And that's a whole other process and whole other conversation in itself. But what I'm just trying to drive home to you guys today is this concept and this idea that when shit is not working in your life for whatever reason, whatever area of your life it might be, and you're off course and you want to get back on track, you have to accept the fact that it's just going to take time. It's going to take time and effort and concentration and dedication to right that ship. So my question for you today is, what area of your life are you trying to just shift on a dime when you should be more focused on how do I right this ship slowly? Or you're getting frustrated that you can't turn on a dime and you realize, hey, this is more of a Titanic type of turn. That's my question for you. And really take some time to think about this today, because I think about this in terms of business. I think about this in terms of my fitness, in terms of relationships especially. Relationships take a lot of time when there's problems or communication or whatever the case may be. Like, it takes time to build that trust back up. It takes time to build a brand up inside of a business. It takes time to lose weight. Now, you can shed water weight fast, you can do all that different stuff, but when you're talking sustained long-term change, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So what area of your life, are you getting frustrated at that you can't turn on a dime? You need to realize, like, okay, as long as I'm doing this one direction, I'm focusing on righting this ship, it will be okay. And it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next month, might not be this winter, but it's the right direction. What area of your life is that? I'd love to hear from you. Join the Facebook group on Run Your Day Facebook group on Facebook, and let us know, because I would really, really love to know what area of your life are you really trying to right the ship, and it's just a slower process than you thought, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's magical, and it works. All right. So that's all, my friends. I appreciate you guys joining. As always, Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day. Hey, have you ever thought about joining a virtual run challenge? As COVID-19 continues to upend our lives and change our life routines, finding fresh ways to challenge yourself physically can be difficult. I know I'm having trouble with that. It can also be pretty hard to connect with others and find accountability partners for the purpose of fitness as well. That's why we created Runwage Virtual Challenges. Runwage Challenges are a new and exciting way to stay physically active and maintain social distancing. Every challenge takes place 100% online, and you can compete against and engage with runners from all over the world. Best of all, they are the only virtual challenges out there which actually reward participants with real cash. That means you have no excuse for staying inactive during this pandemic. So if you've been looking for a fresh and interesting way to stay active and get your miles in, go to runwageapp.com/virtual challenges to join me and the diverse community of runners already competing. That's runwageapp.com/virtual challenges. Can't wait to see you there.